In this lesson, we're going to adjust the player settings so that we have better collision for our player, and it's just to scale a little bit better. Currently, if we go ahead, and I'm going to change this back over to be back in the 3D sort of perspective here, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here on our FPS controller. We have our FPS controller. You can see this is this capsule, sort of like our guy, and then this gun is, of course, our weapon. And currently, the weapon is outside the collision. So if I were to walk up to another object, then let's go ahead and just add in a 3D object. Let's add in maybe a cube, just right here. I'm gonna actually move it down, move it over, and let's just scale it up a bit to 5 by 5 by 5. I'll move it forward a little bit more. Anyway, that should be fine. Let's go ahead and play. And if I walk over to this cube, sort of run into it, you can see the gun actually goes inside of it entirely, which is not quite what we want. We want to fix that a little bit. So Control P to just stop that game. And let's go ahead and start working on fixing this. So first thing, I'm going to grab the gun, the stun gun here. I'm going to move it in closer to the character. And let's go and check this out. Okay, so this is our collision. I have the character selected, and I'm going to change a few settings here on the character controller. We can change the radius, make it wider, just like that. And let's see, just adjusting these things a little bit. And I think that's about as good as we want to get, because if we keep adjusting it, it's going to get taller, which isn't really what we want. I'm going to have to move this forward, but before I get to that, I'm going to select the camera, which is right here. It's the first child underneath the FPS controller, and we have our camera settings here. And under our field of view, I'm going to increase this to 80, and you can see, if I'll just adjust this by moving the slider around, you can see how it zooms in and zooms out. So we want to zoom it out to 80, just like that. And it looks like we're having trouble seeing this. Currently, seeing our gun. So if I just select our spotlight, I'm going to move it back a little bit more so we can actually see more of this. See, it's starting to show up here. We need to make a few more adjustments. I'm going to go ahead and change the scale on it down to 0.5, 0.5, and 0.5 on all axes. And then I'm just going to move it forward a bit, trying to see what we can see of it. So that looks a little better. And just moving it around to get positioned the way I want it to be positioned. Something sort of like this. And then I'm also going to adjust the size of the particles coming out of the gun so that they sort of fit with the resized shape. So here we have the start size. I'm going to change this down to maybe 0.6. I'm going to try that out. See how this is working out so far. Before we get to that, though, I'm going to go ahead and select the top part of the character and just see how our collision is looking. It looks like we still have a slight problem with that. I think it's like completely outside the collision. So maybe we do need to move this a little bit more. I'm going to move it sort of in like that. And maybe we do need to continue adjusting our collision size. So I guess I'll make the radius a bit bigger. It's going to make this a little taller, but hopefully that'll be okay. Might need to move up our character just a bit. And let's go ahead and test that out and see how that's working. Make sure that it's at least fairly good. So we have our gun, I can shoot it. If I move forward, I think that's pretty good. It seems to not be really going into stuff anymore. So I think that has it. Control P to exit out and stop that. And I think that's good. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.